Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hi there. Welcome to New Life Live. Glad you are with me and Dr. Jill Hubbard and Dr. Alice Benton. Hello there, ladies.
Hello.
How are you?
We are glad we are with you.
Yes, we are.
Very good. Thank you for being glad that you're with me. On July the 30th, I'm teaching pastor at Northview Church here in Carmel. I'm preaching on family vacation. And I want to be sure everybody realizes that there are only 940 Saturdays between birth and the age of 18 for a child. And 260 of them are gone by their 5th birthday, according to Dr. Harley Rothbart. So, what are you doing this summer? Have you done anything to create a wonderful memory with your kids? Because it does make a difference. And man, I tell you, you'd say, well, maybe you can't afford airfare, take a road trip. Well, now it seems like airfare is cheaper than a road trip with gasoline prices through the roof. So do something in your city, your area, within 15 minutes or something. But try to do little things, if you can't afford the big thing, little things that create these memories that are special. They just show you love your kids and you want to be with them. It's not too late.
It's such an inspiring number. It gives me a good sense, kind of a holy urgency of my time with my kids.
Yeah.
It feels like it drags out some days, but truly it's short in the long run.
Right. And when it's gone, right? It's not that you don't
That's
have
right.
vacations beyond that, and I do try to capitalize on that. But yeah, it does go quick, like everyone says.
I know you guys are very committed to your kids and do quite a bit, but sometimes we just need to be reminded. Hope no one needs to be reminded here in June that it is, I love June because it's birthday and Father's Day in the same month. And by the way, every man's Bible still up there in the top 10 every single month. And if your husband or boyfriend or father or somebody does not have every man's Bible, it's the #1 best-selling men's study Bible, and men just love it. It's got little barcodes, and it's got graphs and tables and little factoids all through it, and it's just, especially if you have a short attention span, it's just made for men. They love it. So maybe call us 1-800-NEW-LIFE and we'll get you one of those Every Man's Bible to give to the man that you love. Let me see if Elizabeth is, we tried Elizabeth on our previous program. Let me see if she's there. Elizabeth, are you there?
I am.
Oh, how you doing?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay,
There's
good.
a little of an echo there, and we'll have to go to a break here in just a second, but I want to be sure to get to you. Can you turn whatever you have on off?
There, I'm on my actual phone now. Is that better?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Okay. I've called
What's going
before. So about 6 months, a year ago, I was diagnosed with borderline and PTSD.
Okay.
And I'm having a really hard time with it. I've been with my counselor she's a trauma specialist, and I've been with her for about over 2 years. And she feels I need someone who's more specialized in this field.
Okay.
So I hear the music. We want to go to break?
Yeah, we'll go to break and we'll find out more about this.
Okay.
Everybody, you're listening to New Life Live. Dr. Jill Hubbard is here, Dr. Alice Benton, Steve Arterburn, and 1-800-NEW-LIFE is the place to go if you want information about all the things that we do here, or newlife.com. 1-800-NEW-LIFE, newlife.com. We'll take this break and come right back, with Elizabeth, who's been diagnosed borderline personality disorder.
it had become very apparent that some of the things I was involved with were taking over my life.
In today's world, men are barraged with inappropriate content and images all day, every day. Some say that certain behaviors are just no big deal. It's just part of being a guy. But it's simply not true. It's a battleground for every man, and the opportunities to fail are everywhere. New Life's Every Man's Battle workshop can help.
After 7 years, just one weekend, a completely changed man.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle workshop.
He said, I think this is something that every man should go to. Married, dating, it was definitely life-changing.
Now the workshop is coming to Indianapolis June 10th through the 12th. Don't wait for him to call. To find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back, Steve Arterburn. You're talking with Elizabeth, and her counselor has said, I think you need someone a little more specialized in borderline or post-traumatic stress she has. So I'm suggesting that you let us find that person for you. Elizabeth, is there anything else you're wondering about? Anything that else that we could help you with other than your counselor says you need someone more specialized?
Well, I feel so abandoned because I've lost a lot of my friends and most of my friends, and the ones that I haven't lost, they kind of check out sometimes for a couple days, couple weeks. And so I feel like I have nowhere to go. I have my husband. He's my biggest supporter, but he's in bad health. And so my biggest fear is that I'm going to be left alone.
Right.
So I know that's the nuts and bolts of this condition, the abandonment.
Right.
What do you think, Jill?
So I think, Elizabeth, it's, what you're feeling certainly is valid. It's really important to and you are on this call, to really own your part, right? And to look at, okay, with these conditions, how does that contribute to me feeling like I'm being abandoned? And then, perhaps, and I don't know if you've already ended with this therapist or if she's helped you come up with a plan for where to go next. I mean, I'm thinking somebody who does dialectical behavioral therapy, DBT, is often a good person to work with. And you do have to be trained in that in order to offer that specialty. And that perhaps doing some work with someone like that, and I don't know what your therapist plan is, because is she saying you need to transfer to someone else? Is she saying go do some other work and then come back? What is the plan here? And then, Elizabeth, also to understand that sometimes we do a leg of our journey with one person, and it's ethical for a therapist to say, I'm not sure I can go the next leg of the journey with you. I think you may need some other input. She's really being very caring for you. And I'm imagining that's hard for her as well, because we get connected to our clients. And we usually like them or we can't work with them. So to see that she's trying to put you first and your treatment first and what's going to be of the best help for you long term.
All right, Alice, you have some thoughts here.
Elizabeth, you might ask for a transition period where perhaps you have some check-ins with your current therapist, but on a more delayed basis. And sometimes two therapists are willing to work together as a team where they have two very distinct separate roles, but they still work in coordination with one patient, and that's okay to ask for. But if your therapist is saying it's best to be done with me and go with someone else, then I'd have you look at this as a healthy loss, meaning you're doing loss in a structured way, and that will actually strengthen you for the future inevitable losses that we all face. It might be a good thing to walk through the pain of losing this therapist if it doesn't work for her to continue in some form with you.
Well, I think it's really a big
Yeah.
step on the part of the clinician to say, I don't specialize in the combination of borderline and post-traumatic stress, and so to be kind of graduated on to somebody that has different credentials is a gift to you, and I hope that you'll accept that gift as you're able to separate here from her. But be sure you're sharing with her the thoughts you have and things that you'd like a check-in or a combination, things like that.
But that you also hear her and you accept her decision. You're just sad, like Alice was saying. Go ahead.
It's hard to leave her.
Sure.
Of course it's hard. That is so,
About me.
that is so normal.
And I appreciate her so much because she's helped me so much. But she brought this up about 3 or 6 months ago, and I wasn't ready to hear it at all.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like it's still almost, it feels like it's brand new information as I hear you talk, and so all the more reason that we take the next
It's a different
step.
level.
Yeah, so let's hold on and let's get you the kind of help that you need. We want that for you. All right, let's go to, how about we go to Eva from Star, Idaho. KBXL is the station. Hi there. How are you today?
I'm fine. How are you?
Excellent. What's going on in your life?
So I've been kind of wrestling in my heart over a situation with my sister who was diagnosed with cancer 5 years ago. And she did go in and sought some treatment for about 6 to 9 months, and it was natural with a naturopath, and then found out that they were new age and left and has never gone back for treatment. So 5 years down, she's lived a pretty good life, and it's now metastasized, and it's gone into her body, and does not want to go see a doctor, does not want to seek any kind of treatment. She is leaving it in the Lord, and she wants her 2 other sisters who she lives with to follow through with that and not question or ask her anymore about going to seek a doctor's care. My question to you is, at this point, because family is asking what's going on, and I'm not at liberty of sharing any of the personal stuff that she's shared with us 3 sisters.
Yeah.
And I don't know at this point what to do. I have no idea. I've helped a friend go through cancer, and he passed away, and I was there. That was lung cancer. I have no idea what breast cancer does. It's gone already through her body. All we're doing is just supporting her, loving on her, massaging her when she's not feeling well. But I'm at a point where I don't know what to do. It's like, what's going to happen?
Right.
I have no idea.
Well, I'm just taken aback that here's a situation where she says, I'm just going to leave it up to the Lord. Well, if we left everything up to the Lord, then we wouldn't be making good decisions or bad decisions, either one.
We would just be very passive.
Yeah,
Right.
And so we take this stance of I don't want to do anything, and we say that's waiting on the Lord or trusting God. But God gave us brains. He gave people the gift of healing in medicine, and I just wish there was a way that someone that's close to her could communicate, hey, it might not be too late for you if you could at least go see a physician, see either how to make this more comfortable toward the end, or that there's a treatment they've developed that really could reverse this. Those are my thoughts. Alice, you have some thoughts here.
Ava, I'm curious in what way you're asking, what do I do? Is it about when people ask you, how do you manage your own grief, or how do you love your sister well?
Oh, my gosh. It's not about me. it's about her. I'm concerned about her well-being. I'm concerned about, she truly believes that she is in God's hands. She's going to get a miracle. She believes that. She wants to be a testimony, a witness.
Mm-hmm.
And, I believe in all that. I trust God with all my heart and soul. But, yes, you're right. God gave us a brain. And those of us who are closest to her, to answer the gentleman's question, we've tried. Those of us who she trusts, she's shown me the wounds. She's trusted me enough to help take care of her. We've had prayer sessions. We've done everything as far as God goes. And I trust God and I believe in miracles. But my question, I guess, to make it more clear, is what do I do from here? It's like I don't know what's going to happen to her.
Right.
We don't know how we're going to need to care for her. And do I tell her that? But I don't want to burst her butt. I don't want to. She says, you either stand with me or get out.
So, Ava, I think there are a couple of things to do. And one is to emotionally and spiritually work on the acceptance of your sister's disturbing decision when there are other things she could do, but she gets to choose this. Second, you might make an appointment with a physician to ask, what should I expect? What can we do with someone who will not receive more treatment? How can we care for her well? And you and your sisters might consider getting some training if that's your decision to stand by her through this, because you will have to assist her physically, I'm sure, much more at some point. And when it comes to when other people ask, you might have to refer them to her if she's not willing to give you the permission to share that information.
Yeah, Jill, you have some
well,
thoughts here?
it is really hard to sit by, and I can appreciate her hesitancy. She was involved with a doctor, and then she didn't trust this doctor. I like the idea, Alice, of Eva going, and maybe the other sisters going, maybe go to a different naturopath, talk to a naturopath, talk to a medical doctor, and get the research, because if you can't get her to go, because my first thought was we just want information, and then if you still want to take the same stance, we're with you, but we just want to get the information. And sometimes too, we decide how God is going to work. We decide what would be the best miracle for him to perform. And he hasn't necessarily said that's how he's going to do it. And so in our minds, I think we limit God to this would make a great story for you, God. So of course you're on board, when we really need to be on board with his plan.
Yeah. I hope something we've said is helpful. I'll send you Take Your Life Back, because that really is that balance between me doing what I can do and allowing God to do whatever God can do. Some of you might be listening and you might be confused. You might be thinking, well, wait a second, I'm waiting on God. And, I've been married for over 17 years, but before that, my previous wife left. And I so prayed, God, do your thing. Get us back together. Let us be the testimony. And that just, because people have choices, that did not happen. And so I know what it's like to want God to step in and do something supernatural. And but all I could do was do my best to heal from that, because God didn't, or the other person didn't respond to God. So I think it's important that you do everything you can to help her think accurately about how God works, but then also that you help her heal whatever part of her is broken that would lead her to give up so easily. I had a guy, when he hugged me at church the other day, he was in a cult where if the big cult leader couldn't heal a child, then that child was deemed to die. They were meant to die if he couldn't heal them. No medical care. And he said, we watched children die. He had 10. And after reading Toxic Faith, he got them out of that cult and now sees how God can work but it requires us to do our part. Magical thinking, toxic faith, all of that. Such a huge problem. I'm going to send you a copy of Toxic Faith, see if that might give you some insight into what she's doing here. And we pray that something miraculous might happen. You're listening to New Life Live. If you need help, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We'd love to help you. Or you could just go to the website, newlife.com, see what we have there. So many things going on. So many workshops, including Every Man's Battle right here in Indianapolis, June the 10th. A lot of men are going to be different for the rest of their lives because they went to Every Man's Battle. We see it all the time. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And we'll be back right after this for more of New Life Live.
My husband was involved with pornography addiction. He was unfaithful. I called the wedding off. He stepped out on the marriage and ended up having a child.
The Restore Workshop is designed for a woman dealing with a man's sexual addiction issues.
My husband is a recovering sex addict. There were strip clubs, other ladies.
If you've been affected by betrayal, an emotional or physical affair, or pornography, the Restore Workshop will equip you with support and tools to help you through.
Restore has empowered me and has given me the tools to work through my anger, work through my pain, work through my confusion, and help me realize that I am worthy.
Being here and being surrounded by people who get it has given me my power back.
The Restore Workshop is coming to Dallas, Texas, July 15th through the 17th. To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go online to newlife.com.
Thank you, Restore. You have changed my life forever.
Chris Williams on coaching.
Oftentimes I get asked, what is the difference between therapy and coaching? The biggest difference between the two is that a therapist is going to be looking for a diagnosable mental health condition, whereas a coach is going to look at a particular issue and help a person work through that.
If you need a coach, call New Life today and ask about the New Life Coaching Network. Our coaches have been trained and screened with the same intensive process we use for our network counselors.
If you're looking at an issue in your life that you just kind of want to change, whether it be your weight or leadership or other areas of behavioral patterns, check out coaching. There can be some really, really helpful things for you.
Take control of your life and take action to achieve your goals. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 and talk to us about getting a New Life coach. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. We are back. Steve Arterburn here, and I think I'm back. Can you guys hear me?
Yes. Loud and clear.
How I can or sometimes cannot hear myself. All right. So there's a gift for people that support us in June. And it is from my good buddy who passed last year, Dr. Dave Stoop. Peace, making peace with your father. And that's our way of saying thank you for a gift of any amount. You can make that gift 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We'll have Larry come in later and talk more about giving and seeing what happens with that matching gift. All right, let's go to, how about we go to Fran from Houston, Texas, listening on Sirius XM. Hi, Fran. How are you?
Hello, guys. Thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling us. How can we help today?
So I'm trying to figure it out if I'm being truly healthy or if I am just afraid of getting involved in a relationship again from a combination of selfishness and unhealthy beliefs. My question is, am I really appalled or just unhealthily afraid?
Okay, so
and
tell
I have
us
some background, if I may.
Well, let me just ask you this up front. That sounds like there's a person that you're not wanting to move forward with. Tell us, try to convince us that that would be a really bad thing to do because of the negative things that you've seen. What would those be?
I have been approached by men, but I have not been led into a relationship, more like seeing red flags in them.
Like what?
I have, so either just maybe some addiction behaviors or just controlling behaviors that I'm not,
Okay. Those are things that you certainly wouldn't want to get involved with.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't choose that.
Yes. May I just give you a background? I have it written
Sure.
down.
Okay, do it.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
So, alcoholic parents, now saved. I came to Christ 2 years into being married. My former husband chose a different lifestyle. We did not have children. Divorce was finalized 7 years ago. I have gone through several ministries for healing, like CR, FPU, divorce care, boundaries class, to name a few. So from time to time, I have felt sexual desires, but I always, go to the Lord and acknowledge them, thank Him for them, and but then, that's something that I learned through mending the soul. Anywho, so I'm just trying to figure that out. Am I appalled or just unhealthily afraid?
Well, let me let you talk with two women here who might have had similar feelings. So, Alice, we'll start with you.
Fran, it sounds like you date at times and you try to get to know new men up to the point of identifying troubling, unhealthy behavior. Is that accurate?
Yes and no. I was approached by a couple, and until a friend of mine told me that I needed to guard not only my heart but their heart. So now I don't date. It's more like courting, I guess. But I haven't been led to that either.
And do you proactively put yourself in situations where you would be likely to meet new men?
Outside of going to church, serving at church, being involved in ministries and volunteering, I really don't.
Well, and that does sound like quite a few things. I think, Fran, sometimes it's helpful, and I appreciate the work that you have done. I mean, you have, since your divorce, gotten involved in things so that you can learn and grow, and that you're asking some good questions. Although you're kind of only giving yourself two choices. And I think in between unhealthy boundaries, there's also healthy boundaries, right? But that doesn't mean those boundaries are like a steel wall and nobody can ever get through. And so to look at how are you fearful in other areas of your life besides dating? How are you avoidant in other areas? Is it kind of pervasive that you have this cautiousness? Is it directly related to how you were hurt? And the fear of ending up in a similar situation makes you, kind of see red flags everywhere in everyone in terms of not trusting yourself and who you might choose. And then it sounds like you get feedback from others. So I think in dating, really important to be connected to other women and even other men who can give you input, and that you date in public. It's not just this private thing that's separate from the rest of your life. You date in public. You have other people get to know a person, and you hear their input.
And I praise you, Fran, because you sound very discerning, and it's obvious that you've done a lot of work on yourself. You have a high level of awareness. And I think your discerning has been combined with an exposure to meeting new men that's just too limited. Even though you're very active in your community, if you already know all the men in your community, then that resource is kind of dried up there, and you have to expand the areas to which you enter so that you have a chance to meet other new men.
All right, so when we come back, I want to give you a different perspective on this from a single man's perspective. I have two boys, 22, 24. I'll give you their perspective on dating and what's out there and the dangers for men. It's not just women, which we might start to think. It's just the women that have the danger ahead of them with a man. No, we'll talk about that right after this.
I came into this thinking that my husband was the cause of many of our issues.
The New Life Intimacy and Marriage Workshop is coming to Washington, D.C. July 22nd to the 24th.
But after learning about our attachment styles, I understood how our past hurts were playing into our present problems.
Join Steve Arterburn.
It's been a dream of mine for a long time to help people to grow more intimately together, and we believe that everybody has room to grow in the intimacy level of their life.
And Milan and Kay Yurkovich.
We help couples understand how their attachment style is sabotaging their current relationship. And then we teach them how to create comfort in a relationship.
And New Life's group counselors will help you focus on the area that will benefit your marriage most. To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Here at this workshop, we had our first ever conversation without yelling, blaming, and accusing.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I turned on New Life, and the topic that day was about anxiety. And just by listening, I got relief.
You can help New Life stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of the Life Recovery Bible personal size, the 1-year Life Recovery Prayer Devotional, the New Life Journal, a New Life pen and highlighter, and a New Life zipper tote to hold it all. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Back, Steve Arterburn here. I promised that I would talk about the other side of this. You know, young guys that are my 22, 24, they are just godly people. I mean, it's amazing. And it's the same thing with them. You know, there are some really unhealthy in different ways, sometimes desperate folks that they run across, and it's really hard for them to meet great people. And you know, here's what my advice to them was: you need a couple of wingmen. You know, you can't see a group of women at something and then you walk up by your, you know, you need a couple of guys. So I was joking. I said, go on a dating site and connect with the guys and say, hey, you live in my town. You want to be, but I think the same thing with females like her. If she had a couple of women and they were out there taking a class, courses, music, different arts, crafts, things like that, then she's out there meeting people different places. So wingmen and wing women are really important in finding the healthy folks and not latching onto the unhealthy. Speaking of healthy, not unhealthy.
Absolutely.
Larry Sonnenberg is in the studio. Larry, how you doing, and what do you have for us today?
Doing good. Thanks, Steve. A week from tomorrow, Every Man's Battle, right there where you are in Indianapolis.
Yes, indeed.
Yep. Looking forward to a lot of guys signing up and getting over there. I wanted to read an encouraging testimony, because if you're on the fence or wondering, you know, the hardest part is just making that phone call. I tell guys when they walk in, you did the hardest part. You walked in the door. But we got to get you to call us or get your wife to call us. Here's what Will said. I was kind of skeptical at first, meeting other guys in a large group, but after the first session, I began to loosen up, so I started to engage and meet and greet other men. When we entered into small groups, that's when things got real. Telling your story, getting to the core issues I was dealing with, very emotional. But after day one, I was pleased and more at ease with myself and ready for the healing process to begin. I'm very pleased to have been able to attend Every Man's Battle. Very big step. Thankful for the staff and new group of men in which I pray, and I hope to continue the battle with and see it through. So guys, get over the fear. You can do it.
Well, you know, Larry, very few people, you hear the term on the fence. I've actually been on a fence. I was stepping over a barbed wire fence.
Kind of uncomfortable.
And the guys out there, little joke, they kicked the thing out from under my feet, and I was on the fence. And I can tell you, it was a very graphic display of how uncomfortable living on the fence, being on the fence. Do not stay on the fence. Do something to get off the fence or life. And a lot of people are that way. They just stay in the discomfort, and then they get so uncomfortable that they get comfortable with the uncomfortable. Get off that fence. Give us a call, 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Steve,
Now, what else do you have for us?
Well, I just want to add to it real quick. If you look at all the miracles Jesus did, somebody had to do something first before the miracle happened. You know, somebody presented him with the loaves and fishes. Somebody carried that guy to the roof and dropped his friend down. The lady reached out to touch the hem of Jesus. You know, there's miracle that somebody had to fill the vats with water before they became one. So guys, take that first step and a miracle might happen.
Amen.
Last thing is we're still in our matching gift challenge, so please make a gift to help us. It started at $760. We're down, this is recorded, I can't give you an exact number, but we are down in the neighborhood of $450,000. And so we don't get that money unless you make a gift, and we can pull that much out then matching what you give.
We have a lot of things that we could use it for.
Yeah, it's all good.
Very good. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's the phone number to call. Anything else you want to add there, Larry?
Nope. Back to the
calls.
calls.
Thank you very much. We'll go back to the calls. And how about we talk with, let's go to Bernadette, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, WBYN. Hello, Bernadette. How are you today?
Hi, Steve. I'm hanging in there. Thank you so much for taking my call.
You are welcome. Hanging in there sometimes is all we can do. We're in the survival mode, and then eventually we can get out of it. So tell us what's going on.
Well, I'll try to make this quick. I'm a 70-year-old retired nurse. I have a 42-year-old atheist son who I've been reading about it, and I actually probably should have seen it sooner, but I believe he's a narcissist. On Mother's Day, previously he had been helping me, with heavy things and cleaning up stuff, and which was a wonderful help to me. But on Mother's Day, he really spoiled it all. We had talked briefly on the phone prior to him coming, and I didn't know he was coming because he didn't say he was, and at that point I wasn't really looking for him. But he came over, and I was at my computer, and he started ranting and raving. I mean, at the top of his lungs, he was just about the same old mantra, why haven't I done this, and all these supplements you buy, and you obsess about the food, which I don't. Mm-hmm. I have Hashimoto's. I don't know if I told you that, and that's a real bear. Yeah. But he was just going on and on and on.
Okay.
And he came near me. It was like right in front of my ear, like a gun barrel, and he screamed in my left ear. Then he quickly came into my face and spit in my face. Okay.
Wow.
I don't know if he meant to. Yeah, I don't know if he meant to intercept me picking up my water jar, but that was knocked out of my hand and went all over my keyboard. He destroyed my keyboard.
We get the picture. It is really unhealthy, and I want to be sure I can answer your question. What is it that you were wanting help?
I was trying to get him to leave. I tried to call the police. He wouldn't even let me. He kept trying to get my phone, and he was sparring with me with that about 5 or 6 times. And I finally got up. I said, "Leave, get out, and don't come back."
So what's the question for us?
Well, I know, I've set boundaries for him, and I know you guys always talk about, well, it's not time to forgive, he has to do something. And I can't let him back in my home. I don't trust him.
Okay, so what's the question for us then?
Well, am I doing that correctly. I can't, by telling him don't come back. I just.
Well, it's a great question that allows us.
I'm very fearful now.
Of course,
and it's a
you
great
are,
question.
Bernadette.
It allows us to make this point that forgiving somebody doesn't mean you give them access to you again when they haven't done anything to make you not be afraid. So I would forgive him. I would work on forgiving him, and I would try maybe think about why would he be this way to you, and I would then I would totally accept him as he is, but that still doesn't mean that he should ever be in your presence again until he's done something that would reassure you he's safe.
Well, and even if, let's say he's right, Bernadette, maybe he's scared because you aren't taking care of yourself and he's been talking to you about this, and so he just lost it. Even if he's right, and I think we can...
I have been doing a lot to help myself.
Okay.
I have a new doctor.
Okay.
My son.
Okay. All right. Let us give you some help.
But even if he's right, the way he delivered his message to you was not okay. And to be able to make that distinction. So even if you sent him the message that, son, you may be right about some things, although you didn't give me a chance to tell you what I had been doing, the way in which you shared your upset with me was so hurtful and has made me so scared in our relationship. And to let him know, and for that reason, I need you to not come over unannounced. I need to restrict our relationship just to maybe the phone or texting for now.
Alice, you have a comment here right before the break?
Well, Bernadette, Bernadette, we're always called to be working towards forgiveness. There's no time limit on that. But you're correct that reconciliation depends on whether or not your son is showing any signs of regret and remorse and a willingness to change, a willingness to acknowledge what he did for you. So boundaries should be set with steps to reconciliation. So, son, if you're willing to talk about what happened, if you're willing to get into therapy, then I could reconsider us engaging. Maybe not in my home quite yet. Maybe it'd be at a restaurant instead. But that helps set the plan out of what you need for safety.
All right, I'm going to send you Forgiving Our Fathers and Mothers by Dr. Jill Hubbard to send it in the mail. When we come back, I want to talk to you about how much faith is required to be an atheist. I think to be an atheist, you really have to have a lot of faith in nothing. We'll be back after this.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit its addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again.
You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly.
and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here. And atheists really do need, they have a lot of faith, because to ignore the fact that, in billions of planets and stars and stuff, this is the only one that we know of that has an atmosphere. Scientists calculated the chances of that are like 1 in 89,000 zeros power, and then that human beings could develop here. It's pretty bizarre for someone to think that this is just a random development here on this one planet that we're aware of in the entire universe. Oh my goodness. So I applaud you as an atheist. Keep searching, because once you find God, your faith, if you can have faith enough to be an atheist, boy, once you find God, you can be a really strong person of faith. But you're having to ignore an awful lot of evidence. And, the Bible tells us that, hey, everybody is aware of me. You see it in different things in nature. My presence is there. No one is without excuse. All right, let's go back to the phones. And how about we give a little shout out here to Janet from William Grove, Pennsylvania, WBYN. Hi there. Welcome to New Life.
Thank you, Steve, for taking my call.
Certainly. What's going on?
Okay. My two grandsons, 52 and 56, had an alcoholic father, and life revolved around his going out every blessed night. We had no family time together. Now, he's been gone for 6 years, and they have nothing to do with me because I remind them of him. They don't trust, they don't confide, they can't. The unmarried son doesn't. I don't believe he can trust anybody to be married. Anyway, what is so heartbreaking, they have nothing to do with me. I don't know if they can confide in me.
Okay, so
I don't know if...
What's the question for us then with regard to that?
Okay.
It's a horrible
I
situation.
think you may have helped me. You just said not to straddle the fence, get off the fence. Do I approach them and say, I want a relationship with you, even though they told me no phone calls, no letters, no visits?
Janet, how long has it been since they told you that?
A year and a half.
And have you stayed away for that year and a half?
Yes, and the one son lives 15 minutes from my house. I want to do what is right by them, but in the meantime, I am aching. I'm just.
Of course.
Do
you have Janet? Do you have relationship with your daughter-in-law?
She would talk to me. Yes, she would talk to me. But it's my single son I'm concerned about, who lives near me. I haven't seen my granddaughters for a year and a half. I'm like in limbo. What do I do? I want to do the right thing, but I don't know. Is there a right thing?
Janet, the 52 and 56-year-old, these are your sons? And then they...
Absolutely.
Oh, okay, okay. I don't know why we thought they were your grandsons. So, okay, so it's your sons.
My two granddaughters.
Okay.
And the alcoholic father was your husband.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna take a stab at this, and I'm gonna suggest that you write. Let's just talk about the single son. Write a letter saying to him, anybody who went through what you've gone through would feel the way you do, and in fact, it's so common that there's a group that meets. And it's called Adult Children of Alcoholics. And you give him in this letter a number. And it says, if you're feeling alone, as I'm feeling alone, if you contacted these folks and entered a group, I think in a year or two, we'd be back where we want to be. I so regret what you had to go through. I just want you to know it's very common, and there is literally something you can do about it. Jill, Alice, your thoughts?
Well, Janet, consider a very painful part of their experience that may be incorrect, but because you were in relationship with their alcoholic father, even if you separated, divorced, did everything you could to protect them from him, they may be unfairly giving you part of the responsibility that this was their father. And so anything you can genuinely say to acknowledge that I was part of this picture, I was with your father forever, however long you were, and that may lead you to not trust me. Is there anything that I can do to start to rebuild trust with you?
Rebuild trust,
Yes. Yes. And what are the ways in which I have hurt you? I may not have been the alcoholic, but I feel like I also hurt you, and I want to understand your hurt.
And if you can get a couple therapy sessions under your belt, a couple CODA meetings under your belt to tell them, this is what I'm already doing to look at my part and to rebuild the trust with you. What else?
Yeah, no question about it. Going to Al-Anon for you gives you credibility to suggest to them to attending an adult children of alcoholic group. You know, it seems so common that when the man is the alcoholic and doesn't get better, the wife is blamed. Why didn't you save my father is the underlying message.
Or why didn't you leave him sooner? Or
that's right.
There's always something that she could have done.
And sometimes it's because you were the safest one, the healthiest one. So it's safe to bring those feelings to you. It's unfair to you, but it's safe for them.
Well, the reason there's blame is because they're not in recovery. They're still in anger, bitterness, pin it on somebody else versus here's what I need to do to get better. And when you're ready to get better, you know, we have some amazing life recovery groups all over. And Terry Ward, she'll either help you find one or she'll help you start one. And you can find out about that at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Proverbs 11:14 says this, where there is no guidance, the people fall. But in an abundance of counselors, there is victory. We are so fortunate to have an abundance of counselors and coaches here at New Life that we depend on to help you. All you have to do is call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and we'll find one for you in your area. So many people doing things online that you could even be from Nome, Alaska, and get the kind of virtual help that you've been looking for. It's really a unique situation that people are in. Now, Larry mentioned this, but right here in Indianapolis, June the 10th, Every Man's Battle. Then in July 15th, is Restore in Dallas, Texas. And there are a lot of women who are bitter, they're angry, and they have a right to be. But even though you have a right, God says get rid of all bitterness, resentment, and anger. And that is why we call it Restore. It restores your walk with the Lord. It restores your faith in God. Sometimes the relationship can be restored, but not all times, because he might have made a different decision. Mylan and Kay Yurkovich and I are going to be in Washington, D.C. for Intimacy in Marriage, July 22nd through the 24th. And don't forget our Lumina partnership with Museum of the Bible. The event is called Lumina, November 3rd and 4th. It's an event for women, and the theme is Where Women Rise. And Jen Wilkin and so many wonderful, wonderful folks are going to be speaking there, and I hope and pray that you'll just look it up. You can find out about it at luminawomen.org or newlife.com. If you need some help, 1-800-NEW-LIFE or newlife.com. That's where we can provide the help that you need. You call us. And thank you, Dr. Alice. Thank you, Dr. Jill. Thanks to all of you who listen, watch, and pray for this ministry. We love you. We thank you. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.